wander in.
I clicked the go live button, but YouTube synchronization from the go
Oh,
live and
there it
actually
is.
going live is not. We can't test. We can't trust Google. It's
in
terrible.
general.
Are you kidding? I trust them explicit with all my information and the location history.
That's great because they have it anyway.
They started perma banning people that use like YouTube Advanced or whatever. It's like, oh, that's a permanent ban.
Really?
It's kind of wild.
I noticed I was having problems. I had a plugin that was like remove the constant, like when you search for a video and it just shows you like stuff that you've already seen over and over.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I had a plugin that removed that, but it broke recently, so that sucks.
All you folks that are here 5 minutes early, we went live a little early so we could just hang out with you and just get a little bit of chat going and so we could also recruit you to let everybody else know that we're live and you should say hello.
Tell your
and
friends about this show.
comment and engage and it's like tell them to get in here or whatever. I don't know. This is a recap. This is all the stuff that happened in 24 and it's going to seem like
It's not all the stuff.
well
Not every. This would be a much longer episode if we
Heavily
recapped
curated.
everything.
We picked some personal favorites.
there's a bunch of stuff that's going to be like that was 24. I thought that was 12 years ago.
That was weird.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff in there, it's like, oh, wow, that was this year.
Remember the balloons? We were worried about that for a while.
Vince wants to know if Dark Krista's here. Yes, she is drinking heavily.
I'm not drinking heavily. I have to drive later, so I'm having a little bit of coconut rum with my juice.
How much of that bottle to unleash Dark Krista for real?
It would probably not as much as you think, because I haven't eaten a lot today. So I may get a little sweary at some point. I'll try to keep it on the DL.
Yeah, so the reason we're so late is because it has just been a festival of winter in a place that really hasn't experienced a winter like this in quite a long time.
Well, I was sick over the holiday and did not test non-positive for like 2 weeks. And then by the time I was feeling better and not testing positive, then we had like 2 weeks of ice storms.
People in Texas and Florida are not amused by you saying a place that doesn't usually get it.
Weren't there parts of Louisiana that had like a blizzard warning at one point? It's like, when does that happen?
All those places never get snow.
The number of days that the boiler has experienced its maximum specification outside temperature is like 5. And 2 of those have been in the last 2 weeks.
I was pleasantly, when I got in the car on the way here, I was like, oh, it's only 20 degrees. Like it's not that bad.
Well, we're past it now.
Yeah.
Last time was crazy, though.
Yeah. Below 0? Yeah.
Yeah, even Rue was like, I don't want to spend any time sniffing. I want to come back inside. Normally she's like, I just want to sniff for 20 minutes.
I thought about taking the cats out of the covered porch just for a minute, just to see.
How they'd react.
Yeah.
Cricket's very happy. He's got a big fluffy blanket on the couch right now. That's like his only place. That's what he does all day. Is just curl up in that little blanket.
It's the beauty of a cat, right?
Yeah.
It's basically a stuffed animal. Well, an annoying stuffed animal.
Yeah, except when he gets up on like our desk or something and knocks a bunch of shit down.
All right. Are we ready to get started, chat? Have you notified all your friends and your other friends and,
So many friends that.
Well, they've just got the one.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
deleted
you
your social
definitely
media
have.
account and or posted on one? Mark Chambers, happy 2025.
Thank you.
New Zealand $5. Thank you. So as we go through the news, are we going to do it after every month or every quarter?
It was months.
It's
right?
by month.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to do, there's 12 segments. And after every segment, we'll catch up with the chat and read the super chats and all that kind of stuff.
And they're going to be small segments.
And I'm drinking homemade black tea from Taiwan.
I thought you should have gotten a margarita.
Should have. There wasn't time. I was going to do that.
It's a school night for us if you're watching this in the future. So
Let's rock and roll.
Well, January, this is not just the greatest hits, I suppose, but also the greatest misses. And was there a greater miss in 2024, I wonder?
No, Apple has sold over 200,000 Vision Pro pre-orders, Mac Rumor reports. This is from the 29th of January, 2024. As you will know, the Vision Pro has since been canceled and no one cares.
Not only has it been canceled, but I think they're trying to forget that it ever happened.
what was the price point? Wasn't it like
$3,000.
3,000? Yeah. Ugh.
You could probably get one
Who
for
has that?
considerably less right now.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what you can get that you'd enjoy a lot more and save an extra $1,000? A 5090.
I remember the videos for this were so like weirdly dystopian. It was like someone living in like a gray apartment and they were wearing like their completely shapeless clothes and their socks and they were just,
Pod living.
yeah, that's what it felt like.
It does check. One of the pieces of technology that I've been looking for the last decade is a small something that I can put in front of my eyes and just have screen like lots of pixels in front of my eyes, and it does tick that box, unfortunately. But it was too heavy and cost too much. It's like I'm willing to wait for the second or third generation of that technology.
I don't know if there's going to be one.
Yeah, so I don't think they're going to go in on that right now.
How about this model? Like she was like, "Oh, I'm going to be the face of the new frontier." And
Do you think they're like, don't look like you're having any fun using the product. You should look really upset.
now she just looks dumb.
Uh,
And this was early in the year. We saw what was to come from AI, I guess, and from the tech bros choosing sides and aligning and creating all these little enclaves. One company did really, really well.
Microsoft hits a $3 trillion market value, second to Apple. There's been some changes in the $1 trillion valuations.
Well, NVIDIA came along.
yeah.
But at this point, Microsoft was feeling good.
NVIDIA came along and Intel was ejected from the Fortune 500. Or, is that right? No, Chad will correct me.
No, they got delisted from a stock exchange.
Oh, right.
Yeah, well, there's not much commentary to say about that. Just Microsoft.
Good
was
for them
killing
and
it.
all their cash money. Isn't that wonderful?
They did go on to. Now it's interesting, I guess, to say they hit that milestone and they immediately started cutting workers.
Yeah.
Like we gotta cut to the bone.
I think we've had a story almost every week about Microsoft cutting more people.
Everybody. And this one feels like it's not old enough, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, this like I really was like, wait, that was this year? This was shocking to me.
Elon Musk says Neuralink has implanted its first brain chip in a human.
They're now on their third, correct? So that's what we
Yes.
just did last week.
But they said they're gonna do 30 this year.
Yeah.
It worked, kinda. This was after, remember, people were a little suspicious about the Neuralink after the monkeys.
Yeah.
The monkeys had a bad experience with the Neuralink.
I mean, I guess if you're in a position where you need one, like you really need one, like you're probably not turning it down. But
If I can't move, just get in there and do whatever you gotta do.
Well, the first patient, I think the follow-up for this was that there were some complications and it doesn't work as well as it did, and there's not really a way for them to repair it. It's like, oh, we've gotten the data that we needed from implanting you.
I hope
Good
they
luck.
paid that person.
Yeah,
Give
something.
them
no, he
something.
probably signed a waiver, and now it's just like, sorry, sucks to suck.
I guess he's not. They're not going to honor him in the Neuralink Museum someday. This was an unfortunate trend that began in January and never stopped. It only accelerated from this point. I got to try to get this toward the top.
A comprehensive list of the 2024 and 2025 tech layoffs. So this is a more recent article, but it's a nice little fun timeline of this is all the stuff that happened in 2024, and a lot of people lost their jobs or were displaced or are having trouble finding something to do.
Yeah, this was January 2025 when this was written. So it just kept going. 150,000 jobs.
A lot of fresh graduates are feeling the pressure too, even from Ivy League schools. It's like, wait a minute, I can't just immediately do something useful because I'm,
My generation, first time.
And this one was a brief moment where it seemed like, oh, could there be a weakness? Have the people turned on this? But no. Quickly it was decided that is not the case. Not at all.
Could a court really order the destruction of ChatGPT? The New York Times thinks so, and it may be right. It was, in fact, not right. Not even remotely a little bit right. Like, not even in the same ballpark.
Do you know how much money's behind OpenAI?
This controversy came about because OpenAI used a bunch of old issues of the New York Times as part of their training and learning data.
And we went on to learn every large language model has done it. And most of the time it was brought up and someone in charge said, do it anyway.
Yeah, the Zuckerberg, the stuff is just now coming out in Discovery, and that stuff is wild because they used up the Russian pirate book website that has the book archives. They were like, "Oh, we got that from somewhere. Yeah, sounds great. Let's just do it." They didn't even bother buying the books they used.
And they stripped the attribution from the data set so that they could be like, we didn't know.
They literally could have just
Except for this email chain where we definitely knew.
Except some of these books are so well known that everybody knows.
Yeah.
They could have just bought the PDFs, but no, they didn't do that.
Why buy when you could just take?
Well, just because you bought the PDFs doesn't give you the right to train.
Yeah, it's a little murkier, but yeah.
He probably has a copy of some of those books.
Well, there's been like a personal license and then like a commercial, right?
Who do you think out of all the tech bros reads the most?
Like Elon wants you to think.
Elon says he reads a book a day. I don't believe it.
I don't believe that either.
I don't believe him.
What was the guy?
Cat Williams
Yeah, I love that.
said he read about 1,000 books a year.
Children's books only.
I
I think about that all the
Comic
time.
books.
Yeah.
I think it's probably somebody like Warren Buffett, somebody like that. Probably.
He's not a tech bro.
Well, yeah, that's
There'd have to be someone like really low key. We probably haven't even heard of him.
Well, if you've not heard of him, I'm not counting him either. I'm saying Cook, Pichai, Musk, Zuckerberg,
All the ones who gave a
Bezos.
million.
Maybe we count like
What about the
Peter
OpenAI
Thiel.
guys?
Altman. Nah, I don't think he reads that much.
I bet he does. I don't know if it's like the most, but I bet he reads a lot.
What's chat think?
Bezos probably.
You think he's a big reader? What do you think about the controversy about his girlfriend at the inauguration?
Oh, I watched a lot of fashion videos about that, like fashion discussion about the inauguration, and a lot of people were like, that was not appropriate for the occasion.
Really? Did the occasion really feel that like
Nah.
pomp and circumstance?
I mean, I think traditionally it has been, but yeah, a lace bra is perhaps an odd fashion choice for an inauguration.
Vince in the chat was, I think, first to say Bill Gates, and that is a good. Bill Gates does read a lot.
Bill Gates doesn't count. Bill Gates is
You've
not
heard
a
of
tech
him?
bro anymore.
Not yet.
That's a monster.
A billionaire monster that has the can change the world a lot, like a lot.
Yeah, that's the end of January. What stories did we miss that you think?
Indiana cornbread nerd, thank you for the $5. Huzzah! Super frozen nerds are together and healthy. I'm still recuperating. So like the salmonella poisoning that I had, I don't know. You can, if you get really bad salmonella poisoning, you get a rash with spots. I got that, and I'm still super thirsty because I was so dehydrated that it like messed with the. And they're just like,
Your
yeah,
electrolytes and everything.
yeah. They're like, it's fine. Just suck on ice cubes and like don't drink as much as you want to, but like you should try to stay hydrated. So it's like, okay, that's fine.
Did they tell you, is the tea better or worse for your hydration?
This
It's
is
got caffeine in it.
It's very, very weak, and so I'm not going to give that up. But this is a very, very weak brew. I definitely cannot feel it in my kidneys. So I am going easy on the tea because the tea is also it's caffeine and it's a diuretic even without the caffeine.
Yeah, that's probably not great. Probably for hydrating, you should probably just be eating like some lettuce.
Lettuce and vitamin water, like the
Pickle
smart water
juice.
with the
Well, then
So-
that's got sugar in it.
apple juice
Pickle
is also
juice?
good. No, they said apple juice and applesauce. That kind of stuff was good. I actually said applesauce is way better than apple juice, but
Shouldn't you be trying to get a little salt?
well, I mean, yeah, electrolytes and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Oh, you should get some of those salt candies.
Under salt. You can get, I know a lot of hikers do this. I'd never tried them. The Nun tablets or Noon or however you pronounce that. You like dissolve them in your water and it has electrolytes in it.
I almost brought up I got some really amazing tandoori peanuts, but I didn't want to do that in front of you because of the stones.
I don't care.
That'd be insensitive.
I mean, listen, I'm going to eat meat in front of you at some point.
Lawrence Hirsch gave us $10. I probably butchered your last name. I'm sorry. I didn't realize it was February 25. It says 2024 in the Newsday live stream. Yeah, we're recapping 2024. Thanks for being my evening wind down catch up on the news along with the entertaining commentary. Thank you. You should let everybody
Thank
know.
you.
People are oddly militant about the links with friends sometimes. I don't get it. Jonathan Briggs, thank you for the $9.99. It's been 51 days since your last pee pee poo poo. Thank you for hanging out.
That's not true.
That's not true.
Literally this morning.
If you have not pee-peed or poo-pooed in 55 days, you need to speak to a doctor.
Did. Oh no, maybe you got maybe you're in the hospital. You got some bypasses going on.
Oh yeah, maybe. A colostomy bag.
No. I was just happy that I didn't have to have an IV fluids. That was not. They were like, "Well, you probably should do this," and I was like, I can just. I don't. We don't need to go.
Well, they
through
make that product liquid IV. Maybe you should get some of that.
Pedialyte was also floated as a thing.
Well, February we only have two items. It's the shortest month, so that's obviously why, right? And this one was pretty specific, but this set the tone for Microsoft's year. Yeah,
It really did.
They made a lot of money, and they got into the AI stuff and Copilot and all that. But their traditional products, they had a 2024 that was a legacy of failure.
Windows February 2024 updates fail to install with an error code, and it turns out that no one was really testing things. Now, this would have been an important lesson for the Intel product testing team because they would be launching a new CPU toward the end of the year. And guess what? Windows sort of sabotaged the performance of those CPUs, and the CPUs also didn't perform super good on their own either.
We also had some security updates that failed in a big way that they blamed on Microsoft. There was just a lot of bad Microsoft software misses this year. And yet, record money.
They never really fixed this either. The fix for it was to go to Windows 24 H2, which wouldn't be out for another 6 months. 7, 8 months.
I would like to point out we've discovered that Teams has custom emoji, which doesn't make up for all of its multitude of other sins, but you can add a custom emoji.
I think somebody that works on the Teams team watches the show because they did add the up arrow. So like in Discord where you can just type the up arrow if you made a typo and then you're editing your previously sent message, that's now in Teams.
Or maybe someone's just using Discord and they're like, wow, there's a lot of really great features in here. Why don't we have this in Teams?
If that's true, I want to say, stop, we hate you. Don't watch.
It is really wild how much better Discord performs than Teams, and Discord does a lot more stuff than Teams.
Well, we had some pretty nasty security issues this year, or this past year, because we didn't do this on time. And this one was one of the more terrifying ones. It started in February, and they didn't get it fixed till March. And it was a level 10.
Yeah. The XZ Utils backdoor. Someone tried to sneak a backdoor into XZ Utils, and some clever person that runs micro benchmarking on everything, as you do, noticed that this was oddly slower. And when they debugged it, they found that the routine was calling cryptographic functions, which had been compromised. And so this could have led to remote access, even though this is an ancillary of an ancillary problem. And so this was incredible. Like a brilliant mind was behind this, an adversarial mind that we really should have spent a lot of time figuring out who was brilliant and detail oriented enough to think about such a thing.
After this episode, everyone will forget.
But it also makes you wonder, is like how many other things like that are lurking that nobody happened to notice, because it's like the mantra for open source is, if you have enough eyes, all bugs are shallow. But most people don't want to be looking at code at that level. Like, it's just disappointing and unsettling and terrible.
More booze?
It's a Microsoft employee that found the XZ backdoor. Yes, it was.
How much do they have to donate for you to finish that bottle?
Oh, it'd be too much.
Are any of
I would be sick.
the cups clean? I wouldn't mind a taste of juice.
I mean, they're not like
They're
I would
definitely
need to
not
wash
clean.
one. Yeah.
This one is terrible.
Yeah, this one's.
But it's not. It's like fresh from the place.
I'm drinking from the Teaching Sam to Think Was a Mistake mug from store.level1text.com.
Dole's not sponsoring this. I've turned their curry around.
Well, can I have some?
Oh, yeah.
I don't want the. I just.
You don't
the
want
juice.
any coconut rum on top of it?
Juice sounds good. Benny says shots.
Whatever shot it was.
This is kind of
the last
it's a
paper cup
large
we
shot
had.
glass.
Chad, since we're low on content, let me tell you the secret behind Dole juice. It says 100% juice on the bottle or carton. And
That is a lot.
It says no sugar added.
if you look at the ingredient list, the reason they can get away with that is because they have clarified pineapple juice. And basically that just means you boil pineapple juice till there's nothing but sugar left. Then you're allowed to put as much sugar as you want in. And it's no added sugar.
Oh, because you don't dilute the.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
It's made with real juice.
that explains a few things, because I made apple juice with the food processor. It's like, an apple is like 35 calories or whatever. And I made a lot of apple juice, and I got the little things of apple juice, and it's like there's 140 calories in this little thing of apple juice, but I've extracted more apple juice from my raw apples. And the most calories that it could possibly be would be like 90.
Boil it.
Yeah.
You boil it till it's just sugar.
Well,
That's what we do with syrup.
It's got all that pesky water in it.
Yeah.
drinking the apple juice that I made versus the apple juice from the can, it's like, oh, this is much sweeter. But yeah,
I feel like apples don't lend themselves to juicing well.
They have a lot of fiber.
food
Yeah.
processor. It's basically just really pureed applesauce.
Oh.
Well, it's even better because you get the fiber with it.
Yeah, I really like applesauce.
Are we ready for March?
That was delicious.
Do you want more?
No, I'm good. I'm good for a while. It is very sugary.
It is, yeah, sweet. Sorry. Continue,
March?
Ryan.
March.
Back to March.
Back to March.
March.
Ah, we did it, chat. We hit the
Do you
thing. If you
call
watched
back?
this last
Yeah.
year,
And this
we had some problems with March last year.
this might have been the
Was it last
defining story. It wasn't last year. That's another thing that you follow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This might have been the defining story of the year because everything after this depended on this.
NVIDIA Blackwell platform arrives to power a new era of computing. This was the server enterprise stuff in March. Gamers get a preview of it, what, like tomorrow or something? I don't know. NVIDIA has already previewed this at CES, and so it's almost a year, not quite, where it's now coming to consumers. This is the Blackwell generation.
And the age of AI really kicked off. I mean, we already had it, but it's really kicked off.
Oops. Oh no, I can't.
Dead air, dead air, dead air.
Sorry. Is it time for me to do something?
No.
Oh,
we
that's
just,
fine.
had,
We're
we
just
just
too-
had a moment. I mean, you can. Well, I guess I just came in. Yeah, and this one was one that actually we got a little bit of a wrap up of. Just was it last week?
Yeah.
Where this has been banned, but for only 5 years. Why would they do that? And they've banned from selling it. I don't know that they're ever going to stop collecting it.
Automakers are sharing consumers' driving behavior with insurance companies. This is when we got concrete, definitive, irrefutable evidence of it because insurance companies were using it to turn people off. This had actually been going on for much longer. And it took the rest of the year before the FTC was like, you really should probably stop doing that.
Now, that was GM. They knew for sure that OnStar was doing it. But then we recently found out that Allstate had SDKs in every major driving app. So no matter what car you drove, if you were using those driving apps, it was doing the same thing. And Allstate was also turning you off because of it.
I love the future. I love living here. I think it's great.
Oh,
I'm happy this is happening.
take another shot.
It's mostly juice at this point, but
And data breaches are not unique to 2024. They've been going on for a long time. But we had a bunch of them.
Millions of customers' data is found on the dark web in the latest AT&T data breach. And this is the one where they denied a bunch and then they said, oops, yep, I guess they got a contractor's data or something.
It was a big one.
A lot of AT&T customers.
And the trade war, which continues to rage, and we're about to get the next version of it. What's it going to be? How is Trump going to handle the China situation? Well, this is how the Biden administration handled it and how China retaliated.
The Tom's Hardware headline is the Chinese government is phasing out Intel and AMD CPUs and Microsoft's Windows OS because they don't fit its new safe and reliable guidelines. And we have actually seen a lot of really interesting Linux development that's useful to us, useful to the whole world out of China.
And boy, this was March. Yeah, this was a precursor to one of the major stories. I mean, he might have done it anyway, right? But this was a bad thing that bad people did and hid. And it just shows how awful these people are and why people maybe didn't care when when awful things happen to them.
March of 24, the Change Healthcare attack, explaining how it happened. So
Not that kind of attack.
it was a data breach. They lost a lot of patient data, and it was also ransomware. They didn't really want to play ball with the ransomware, so a lot of this patient data was released, and it was not anonymous. It was not remotely anonymous.
It actually happened in February, but I don't think we found out about it till March.
Yeah, they didn't want to talk about it. They still don't want to talk about it. They got in trouble for it.
But probably not enough trouble.
And this was the year that, I mean, we'd already kind of lost the internet, but it literally just, they boiled it down to one website. There's only one website of internet. There's bots, and then there's this website, which
It's filling up with bots at a rapid rate.
and they did that to monetize because this was their year to monetize.
Reddit's IPO, here's what I know, as a social media company goes public. Basically, they went public, but a lot of people had a problem with it, and a lot of people had a problem with the new policies that the Reddit media company wanted to implement. And so they closed a lot of Reddits. It's like, hey, we moderate this Reddit. This is community run. We want to shut it down. And Reddit Corporation's like, nope. You're going to reopen it, or we're going to replace you as moderators, because there's a bunch of people that would love to have your giant, juicy, user-filled forum if you're not going to.
You say people. I don't know that it's all people moderating at this point.
Yeah,
No, it's
not
a
now,
lot of
yeah.
bot.
And also they want to train AI on it. And Google is leaning into that because Google lost the AI spam wars. So they need something where people have relentlessly curated content. And guess what? That's Reddit.
For now, until it's filled with bot content, and then it's useless again, and then it's like, where is it going to steal from next?
I mean, it's got plenty of bot content. It's happening.
Right. But it's only going to get worse.
And this was a situation that already had been bad. And you think like, well, could it get any worse? It did. It got a lot worse.
Key events in the troubled history of the Boeing 737 MAX. This article is almost like a predictor of things that would come in the months following March.
So many things.
So many things.
We didn't cover all those stories, but yeah, this kind of kicked it off. And it's like, oh, Boeing's having a bad year. And it just kept getting worse. All right, that's the end of March.
It's sort of funny that one of the people on the Spiral Out 112 points out is like the last couple of days point out just how ridiculously AstroTurf Reddit has become. Yeah, the Reddit of early 2024 is nothing like the Reddit of 2025. It's wild to think that takeover only took a year.
I just want to find people talking about things. Like, suppose if I'm looking to get information, or like I want to buy something, or like just hobby information, like Reddit used to be really good for that kind of thing, and now it's rapidly not becoming very good for it.
FKDHFJHDSJK, like that's just, I don't know, random string of letters gave us $10 and says, are you a SIG or a Glock man? Level 1 text crew.
I'm anti-Glock. I understand. I'm not saying that I've never actually fired one. I think they're so ugly.
I definitely own 1 or 2 SIGs. I don't think I have a Glock.
I have a SIG 320, but I don't carry it because they got a bad reputation for discharges. Did you see the video where they pulled a guy over and he told him, he's like, I got a gun. And they're like, oh, we got to take that off of you, which is not. No, they don't. You don't. It's a legal gun. And they pull him out of the car and the female cop goes to get it and blasts him in the leg. Yeah.
Oh.
Watch that video, chat. I mean, not right now.
Yeah, don't watch it.
That's not great. P-Tong, thank you.
Thank you.
For the $10. It says, best intro riff podium, L1 Tech's show, L1 Tech, everything else, Veto 2. I appreciate that you often post at 0:30 local delivery cadence, and years of listening puts me to sleep instantly. You're welcome.
Yeah.
That's a loaded compliment.
Assault NZ, also 9 pounds. Darkest link to share with my family and friends of all time.
Oh, is it like a question?
The worst link we've ever talked about.
Oh,
I
like
mean,
at the in the show.
There was a lot of really bad, like Adobe Acrobat content.
I was thinking more like which link was proof of the horrors visited upon the average citizen that they know nothing about. And some of it is this Orwellian surveillance thing that's coming out from the Luigi files, because it's like, oh, you've not experienced a condemnation sentiment for that. You're now on a list, and we joke, it's like that's not really happening. That's really
That
happening.
is happening.
Yeah, there was a lot of that. Probably surveillance related, which also covers the other topic too. All right, and then we have April.
Eustphoros.
This also feels like forever ago.
Eustphoros just squeaked in right before April. It was like Daniel Jackson finally decoded those pesky symbols. Yeah, well, thanks for that's
Thank you.
that's like $100. That's crazy. You shouldn't do that, but thank you.
We'll take the money. Thank you.
Yeah, maybe are you making a joke about the Stargate AI company, or are you making a joke about the new Space Aliens 4chan lore that just dropped, which is clearly a hoax?
Is that a Stargate reference?
No, the new 500 billion thing, that is Project Stargate. We're going to spend $500 billion on infrastructure to do AI, blah blah blah. Literally called Project Stargate.
That's the Trump thing, right?
Yeah.
But
So he's talking about Daniel Jackson, who decoded the Stargate symbols to unlock the.
that's what I'm saying. Is that a Stargate reference?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I didn't know who that was.
But he might also be talking about the 4chan aliens thing. I don't know.
You know what? He should donate another $100 to clarify.
No, don't do that. That's fine.
Bait.
Well, Elon Musk, boy, it was a big year for him, huh?
Suddenly, that $44 billion investment in X is not looking so idiotic, is it?
But before all of that started, he had some controversy because he decided that he wanted to change some things about Twitter. I'm never going to call it X. And some people didn't like it.
Elon Musk and Brazil are beefing over X. If you remember this from 2024, X shut down in Brazil because of free speech absolutionism. And then Brazil started going over after Musk's other companies. And he said, okay, well, we'll just work with Brazil. It's fine.
It looks like Elon's giving you the stink eye over my shoulder.
Yeah. Yeah.
That expression is like, how dare you point out my faults? Do you know who I am?
So they agreed to take down like political opposition content in Brazil because they were having none of it. And it was very sus. Like the judge and the laws and the rulings, like if you just look at it and look at the translation, it's like, this seems kind of shady, guys.
Remember the supervillain judge? He looked so menacing.
Yeah.
I don't have any memory.
You don't
of that.
remember him?
No.
Someone in the chat gave us quote absolutist because our memories of this is a little fuzzy.
There you go. First autocomplete. Brazil judge, Elon Musk. See if PBS will give us a picture of him.
Oh,
No. Let's find his name.
yeah. Control F.
Alexandra de Morris.
Okay, yeah, I see it. I see it.
Lex Luthor lives in Brazil.
What a photo. Why? You know what makes it weird? It's not that he's smiling. I mean, it's a little that he's smiling like that. It's that he's got his head tilted down toward the camera, and it casts like a weird shadow.
Yeah, the lighting is
Yeah.
really leaning into it there. So he won. He beat Elon Musk in 24.
With the face like that. I mean,
Congratulations.
you don't know my power.
And Apple, as we all know, does whatever the Communist Party requires. And they had some requirements in April.
Apple pulls the WhatsApp and Threads apps from China's App Store after Beijing's order. Why? Because people were communicating with one another in ways that could not be intercepted.
Unacceptable.
Not great.
Oh, we were just talking about this. The continuation of this.
But they never really succeeded here.
Yeah.
Like, they got some of the lower tier ones, but if you use a good one, you still can defeat it.
You got to be careful with that though, because they're now banning accounts. Like they'll just ban your Google account from accessing YouTube at all.
Will this be the year that they raise the stakes? Probably.
The Forbes article from April is the YouTube ad blocker crackdown is ramping up, and guess what? That frog is still boiling slowly. It is really ramped up even more since then.
I think its little toes are singed at this point. I think the temperature's been increased maybe a little too much.
It's stuck to the bottom of the pot.
It's more of a stock at this point.
It's a stainless steel pan, so it has to wait till it gets a good crust before it can get its feet off it.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a thing that has been happening for a while, as I'm sure that all of you know, because it probably, if you use an ad blocker, it probably didn't even notify you that we were live, because that's just how it rolls. It's like, oh, we're not going to make any money on you. You don't
count.
You get nothing.
And this one set the tone for a weekly rollout of people who felt betrayed and had to go somewhere else. Jilted lovers for the rest of the year. We did not, I don't think we had a month, maybe not even a week, without one story of people saying goodbye to these people.
Broadcom's acquisition of VMware, a new dawn for managed service providers. This is the Forbes headline. A lot of people are unhappy with that, and to the point that Broadcom has actually started to roll things back just a little bit. The story of this actually, though, is really interesting. I mean, Broadcom made the hardware, and VMware made software to leverage the hardware. And Broadcom was looking at their margins, and then they were looking at VMware's margins, and they said, hey, we make the hardware. You guys just do the software. We should be making at least this much margin. And then Broadcom bought VMware and has made even more margin. And it's made a lot of people unhappy. But the earnings from that for the rest of the year are insane. VMware has made a crazy amount of money. Now, that might not be sustainable, but just the inertia of people on VMware, like if you're using all the VMware features, it is actually very hard for you to migrate because it is so tightly integrated with Broadcom's platform. And Broadcom has one of the better high-speed switching platforms. And so it's not just the virtualization, it's all the subtlety and nuance. It's really interesting. Probably something that I should do a separate video on, because I get it now. I kind of get it. Oh, yes, there's a lot of people.
Oh.
Intuitive Player, $5, thank you. I want to do the AI things with my A770 collecting dust. Is anything plug and play with the Intel GPUs yet? Yes, Intel has some AI things you can do. I'm sure it's there for the B580. I think it's there for the A770. You should check that out. Circuit Demon gave us 100 Mexican dollars. Thank you. Wow. It's like, I've learned so much from you over the years. I've subscribed to Patreon since day one. Ryan, love the sarcasm. Chris, sorry you have to deal with them. Ha ha. Fun times.
Is there Mexican dollars in the peso?
It just says MX100. I don't know. Nicholas Primiano, thank you for another great year of tech news. Side note, what's a good way to turn on, then log into a gaming PC with no fancy motherboard features remotely? Pi KVM, Nano KVM, Jet KVM. You might have to, if you have a 4K monitor, you might have to use a hardware scaler, but it'll work really well. Nicholas Cruiser gave us $10. Thank you.
Thank you.
No note. JW Dickinson gave us $5. Attention, everyone. Banana. You may now carry on with your day. Indeed, we may now carry on with what? May?
Is it May?
We may now carry on with May.
Yeah, May. And May, another.
My car had been crushed by this point in the year.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
I got a trail name from that.
But you got a sweet new truck, so.
I did get a new truck. That was nice.
Well, this was the beginning of something that no one wanted, other than Microsoft. Microsoft wants it very well, and there was a lot of pushback here. And as is usually the case in the tech world, when there's a lot of pushback, they go away and they wait, and they come back. And I think they came back twice already.
Yes.
3 times.
3 times in 2024.
Right. 4 if you count the changes to Office that just happened.
That was 2025.
Yeah.
You're going to get this. You don't want it, but you're going to get it.
Microsoft promises AI will give PCs total recall.
Never mind if it's sensitive information. That's fine. It can hoover that up.
If you follow this channel for a long time, you know how much of a disaster the recall feature has been. It's been rolled. It's like delayed. Microsoft honestly thought that the recall feature on Qualcomm-based ARM Windows machines would be the thing that would cause everybody to just drop everything and go out and buy Qualcomm laptops. And it would just be impossible to obtain Qualcomm laptops. So they wouldn't, it would just, it's just a game-changing AI feature. We literally have an AI personal assistant. And the Qualcomm laptops were so terrible that literally nobody did that, even without the AI features, which were delayed and broken and messed up.
A lot of security researchers immediately discovered that this thing had no guardrails at all. It didn't look at something and say, oh, that feels like a credit card number or an encryption key. Maybe I shouldn't recall that. It always did, especially if it was just in a text file somewhere.
And the crazy thing is there's stuff in the operating system to be like, this is a password field. You shouldn't capture this. And most other software doesn't capture it. But that did.
Do you think anybody raised their hand in their meeting and was like...
Not at Microsoft, no. You don't get into that meeting if you've ever raised your hand.
They've already fired 15,000 people this year.
They're sitting on eggshells. And that set the tone of we have AI, but how do you get people to buy a product made with AI? What does it need to do to make people love it? What does it have to be? And we don't have an exact answer now, but we do have a perfect answer for what you should not do for AI-based products.
The humane AI pen is a disaster. Founders already want to sell the company. So this was something like just some tech bros were sitting around a table and said, we want to build the communicator from Star Trek with a weird little projector thing that can project onto your hand so you can use your hand as a screen. And we're going to give it with some slow, bloated, awful software. And for some reason, people didn't want to just buy the crap out of that.
Who could guess why? Also, not a great fashion look. Though I guess if you're doing that, you're probably more into utilitarian.
Yeah, I mean, if it could project that directly into my eyeballs, I might be all about that. I mean, I would love a normal looking pair of glasses that gives me floating 4K or 8K screens in front of me. Like that's what I need.
These are all
Be honest, would you drive with those?
Oh yeah,
Be terrifying.
yeah, it's probably fun.
You've been in the car with him.
I have, yeah. I'm imagining a world where he has access to screens 100% of the time.
What could possibly go wrong?
A lot. And Starlink had a big year. Before they ever used the chopsticks and shocked everybody, they were giving us more convenient communications.
Starlink pushes more direct-to-cell satellites, and oh boy, they have. And the incumbents were very unhappy about this.
And now other countries are getting contracts with them. That was a big win
Yeah,
from us.
we did the article last week. It'll be 2025, but where the African countries, like Starlink is undermining the cost of connectivity in Africa. So these are developing nations. They don't have a ton of disposable income. They don't have incomes that are at parity with other countries. And yet,
That was today.
that was today?
Yeah.
What?
That video was today where we talked about that.
Oh, we recorded it
Zimbabwe.
already. Yeah.
Yeah. And the Russia situation, of course, didn't get any better. And there was a lot more fighting and trade war kind of stuff that went on in 24.
U.S. banned sales of Kaspersky antivirus software, citing ties to Russia. And this was another pot that was just slowly boiling through to today.
Starting to think all the pots are going to boil over at the same time.
Yeah, it's not looking good.
Do you think Trump's going to be able to end the war?
Did you see the thing that happened right before we went live? It was like, oh, that sounds interesting.
It's a lot of bluster, huh?
Yeah.
I don't think Putin respects him, but maybe he'll have to. Well, now we got this wrong a couple of times, but they're still there, right?
I don't know.
So
Chat.
when we made this list, I added this one, but it was like 2 weeks ago, so I don't know.
They brought back some different astronauts, I think. We thought that it was these people, but whoever
There's 2 left, I think.
was stuck, I think is still stuck.
They went to space for 8 days, and they could be stuck there until 2025. This was Boeing. Boeing got them there, and they didn't have an adequate plan for getting them
Get 'em
back.
out.
And so, of course, it is human suffering because of the hubris of Jeff Bezos.
Starlink or Musk sent a SpaceX capsule, but they got somebody else, I guess.
There was a story on our local news station 3 hours ago. Today's good question is, are stranded astronauts still up there? Yes, they are.
The problem was the spacesuits were incompatible because apparently we did not standardize on spacesuit connectors, and we really need them to have supplemental oxygen when they're returning to Earth.
Also, I think the leak is still leaking, right?
Yeah. The leak is still leaking, and there have been murmurs of like, this could lead to catastrophic failure. We really should evacuate that part of the thing.
But don't think about it.
2025 unplanned deorbit.
What are the chances that you have 2 catastrophic failures?
What are the chances that an ice storm and a deep freeze hit week after week?
You're here to welcome us to the Galactic Federation, and there's more intelligence in the universe than just us. Hey, could you help us with the space station? We've got a leak, and we can't find it.
We think someone might have drilled a hole in the side.
Let's come by and just spray some soapy water on it.
It's scary how good that works.
And June this is June, right? No, we're up to July.
Oh, there's only one story.
One story in July, but it was a doozy because this really hurt a lot of people.
CrowdStrike outage hits U.S. hospitals, and they're still trying to hand out gift cards to say sorry.
Remember all those stories about people where it's like, I'm having a baby, and then went to the hospital and it's like, keep going. We can't do anything for you here.
So this is somebody pushed an update to CrowdStrike that was a 0-byte update, and there wasn't error handling for this condition, which bricked a lot of Windows installs. Microsoft got some of the blame for this, and as a result, they will be changing the way that these programs are allowed to interact with Windows, which is kind of funny. But also, CrowdStrike really just messed up pretty bad here and broke some of their contracts and their relationships with their customers. And CrowdStrike is not inexpensive software, not even a little bit. And so that sort of showed that this is all dangerously unstable and poorly engineered.
Got anything to see?
Oh, right. Nori SS. Wait, you guys are live? I thought the world was ending after Inauguration Day. Just kidding. Hello. Wishing everybody great success in 2025. Mir, it's like you built a DIY home server and even a DIY router. Now I'm just waiting for the DIY ISP to complete the set. Sending much love from Turkey. Oh, thanks. Yeah, you can build your own wireless ISP. That's a thing. That's fun. Jordan Sun, $10. Thank you. Rather than a normal pair of glasses that project a screen, why not just use a 4K heads-up display in cars? They do have heads-up displays now, right? I don't know. I haven't seen one if they do. That's actually truly like.
He's the one driving.
You really need to ask that question.
I mean, I not while I'm driving, but it would be nice to be just like.
But you can't put it in the car because people will always use it when they're driving if it's there.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Like that's.
As we've discovered with a lot of the Tesla
Well,
entertainment features.
You can get those aftermarket heads-up display things.
Yeah,
it
where
just
just
sits on here.
projects on the glass or
But
whatever.
a terrible idea. Shouldn't do that. That should be highly illegal. Well, August, we had a question here by Clean Technica. Is that an Ars Technica?
That probably was a workaround at some point, right?
But they asked a question, and we now know the answer. The answer was no.
Waymo doubles robotaxi trips in 3 months. Is Waymo finally scaling exponentially? No. Here we are in 2025. Waymo is still on the struggle bus.
Didn't we just do a story like 2 weeks ago where it got stuck in a roundabout
Yep.
and the guy had to like.
He had to call support.
Couldn't. Yeah, it was like he was getting sick because it was just doing circles, doing donuts.
Yeah, he
basically.
couldn't get out. He's at the airport.
And then we found out that people are being stalked because they give right of way to people no matter what, so people can just stand in front of it and harass you.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a lot of things we never thought about when we said
The future's great.
cars should drive themselves. And here was the beginning of the end, I suppose, for Team Blue.
Intel to cut 15,000 jobs, cites the need to control costs. Yeah, this is a slow burn from Intel. Things are starting to go wrong. What is this, August? July?
August,
yeah.
And so that was a little problematic for Intel. And yeah, it didn't get a lot better.
What is this photo?
And we found out, if you didn't already know, maybe the normies, the mainstream found out that there are data brokers who know everything about you. They might know more about you than you know about yourself. And they'll sell it to anybody, and they have a massive amount of it. And also, they're bad at security.
National Public Data confirms that it has had a massive breach.
So this is a data broker, and we found out exactly what their data set looks like, and it was terrifying.
Was this the one that had all of your purchase data connected to all of your location data? So it was like your Candy Crush nonsense was tied to like your credit card receipts or something?
Full names, email addresses, phone numbers, social security numbers, mailing address. And I think there was a lot of advertising type stuff in there too, right? It wasn't just the United States either. US, UK, and Canada. There are no borders when you're a data broker. And we got maybe a small win for Intel. Was this their only one? I mean, it wasn't really a win. It was like
putting a toothpick before the landslide.
But the landslide that you had already started on your own. Like,
Intel issues statement on microcode update that addresses CPU instability and crashing errors, claims that the patch has negligible performance impacts, future processors not affected. The future processors turned out not to be amazing performers, but they're not dying, at least. And this set of
bar.
updates for the 13th and 14th gen does seem to have fixed the issue, but it doesn't retroactively correct an already degraded processor. And there is an ungodly number of people out there that are just suffering with broken processors. And Intel has agreed to replace them, and they've extended the warranty. But my goodness, there is a lot of broken processors out there. A
And
lot of
2024, we came up with this idea of like entrenched power versus neo-feudalism by the tech bros. Who was actually in charge? And the EU put their foot down, but now we can look back retroactively and see how much difference they actually made.
EU's AI Act, Europe's new rules for artificial intelligence, enters into force, ensuring that Europe will just not be a part of the AI revolution. That did not work out well for the EU. Like it's crazy. Servers. Like the servers that we have downstairs, they're literally not permitted. Like you cannot have things making that level of noise. Just not allowed. So Europe doesn't have servers.
You got a license for noise.
Yeah, exactly. AFI FI gave us €10 and says, "What's the most despicable thing from 2025?" Well, this is a 2024 show. They suggest some inflammatory things like Elon desperately wanting to think that he's a huge PoE2 player. I can think of something more recently Elon did.
Yeah.
That's not even on the list. What are you talking about?
I mean, it's a long list, right? That's probably near the bottom, though.
But that's not despicable. That's pathetic.
It's just pathetic. Yeah, it's sad.
Meme coins from political incumbents. It's just I don't know. There's a lot. D. Garkey gave us $10 and says, "Look into X-Real Air. They tried doing floating maps for a while, too dim during the day, too bright at night, but could easily work for the virtual screens." I tried the old version of those. I got to try the new version. The old version was close. They were 1080p screens, though. Tala Ahmad, Ross Ulbricht is getting pardoned by Trump. I would feel better about that if he didn't try to put out a contract hit more than once on people. Like, I mean, he ran Silk Road, and he got more time for running the platform than people actually selling drugs on the platform. But maybe I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that he put a contract hit out on people, and that was not great. Oh, Use Foros, thank you again.
Right.
Point of view, you're the Intel CEO watching $500 billion Stargate announcement, and you see ARM and NVIDIA on the list of companies, but Intel is absent. That's too bad, too, because Intel's 128-core Xeon CPUs are actually the best CPUs that Intel has done in a decade. Like, seriously. But yeah, Intel's Gaudi product might not be terrible, but they need to pump out a lot of Gaudi products into the right people's hands in order to do things so that they can be like, hey, look, we have a really amazing AI product too. They've got IBM as a customer, so that might be something. Nicholas Cruiser is like, I haven't bought an AMD CPU since Athlon. I was super happy with my 7700K. Last year, I saw no good options, switched back and got an X3D, and I am super pleased. Yeah, the X3D is the real deal. It's a lot of fun. It's very exciting. But thank you all. Okay, now we get this August. This is September.
September. And this one,
fall.
this is just
Cozy.
one example of what happened in the world of gaming this year was that the fans turned on AAA gaming in a big way.
Concord shuts down and reflects on the current state of the gaming industry. It
I
turns
feel
out
like no one had heard of that game before it released.
gamers would like to play fun games that are not preachy. How hard is this to understand?
Very difficult if you're a gaming executive because it didn't get a lot better. There's some good indie games, but the big ones were kind of a disappointment.
We got the new Golden Idol game. I guess it's indie. Comparable.
Yeah,
Same
that's indie.
thing.
You know what?
It
That's
might
not
as well be GTA 6. It's the same.
not a live service. Doesn't have a lot of replay. but
It's not the Curse of the Golden Idol. It was
The Rise.
The Rise of the Golden Idol. It's a good game.
Although I was expecting a prequel.
I was also it didn't really tie in with the story of the original.
Was that already the end of the month?
No.
We've got like 4. We just got distracted.
One of the most fun stories of September was that people don't understand money. I mean, that's obvious, right? If people understood the banking, that's the
You see also our chat.
Henry Ford quote, if people understood the banking system, there'd be a revolution tomorrow. That's true because it's all fake money and it's all debt. But people don't even understand it on the level of like, you can't just steal it and post that to social media.
What is the Chase glitch? A social media trend is fraud, plain and simple, the bank says. Yeah, people were exploiting a thing in the ATM to withdraw money from their own account, but Chase knew who they were. And so Chase started suing people and coming after the money, and people incurred thousands upon thousands of dollars of overdraft fees because you can't just have a money glitch. And people did not understand that, which is wild.
No, this works in GTA and The Sims.
Lines around the corner at ATMs for people waiting to commit fraud with the full record of who they were. A camera.
Yeah, I was saying there's a camera at ATMs.
Several. And here's a question that Forbes posed, and now we also know the answer to this question. And it wasn't much of a question.
The billion-dollar AI gamble, data centers as the new high-stakes game. Yes, and it has only continued to do this. See also Project Stargate.
Did you see? Because we share an energy block with Virginia, and they announced that they were, what do they call it? They set an alert. And it was like, hey, if it gets more than this, we can't produce more electricity. Yeah. We have to start taking the unnecessary stuff off. Because with all the heaters...
Is all of Eastern Kentucky on the unnecessary?
Yeah, it's just the eastern part of the state.
Oh, good.
And the big glob with, I think it's JPM energy or something like that. And yeah, can't keep it all going when the temperature goes below zero around here.
A solar setup, or at least like a wood stove, looks better every year. But gosh, that's a big project.
Yeah,
well,
the power here has been shaky enough that it's like, man, I gotta go power wall, like natural gas, something.
I have a better suggestion, Christian, than a wood stove or a power wall. What you need is one of these.
3 Mile Island is reopening and selling its power to Microsoft.
You know, I would do that, but they're selling it to Microsoft.
Sorry. Well, that one's taken, but you can get
another one, a mini one.
I just need my own personal demon core. I can get it online. It's fine.
So this was one story, but we saw story after story. Nuclear's coming back. They're going to let them try the thorium. They're going to let them try, like, now that big data needs it, it's like, yeah, all the stuff that we've just been prohibiting people from actually trying to build, let's get it all going. We're ready for nuclear.
Go as fast as possible and skip as many safety regulations as you need.
It is amazing that Microsoft is literally bringing 3 Mile Island back online by prepaying for an ungodly amount of electricity. That is wild. Useforos asks, thank you again. It's another $100. Oh my gosh, you should. So you can just ask questions. Like, we'll answer them. It's fine. You have my email. It says NVIDIA GB10 or 6000 Blackwell, and why? 6000 Blackwell, and I can't tell you why. You'll have to look. Ask me again tomorrow.
And, you got anything else? It's a new month.
Max1220, thank you. Any cool Star Trek projects? Fan like you probably had some amazing projects. Live long and prosper. Home Assistant's new AI voice, like the local thing you just talked to, and it's like, hey, is there any water in the basement? No, water's dry. Basement's dry. Okay, cool, thank you. Home Assistant. Talkie Home Assistant is incredible. And that's running on an Ada 4000, the SFF 4000 that I did a video on. It doesn't have to be that. You could run it just fine on a gaming GPU, but holy crap. Having a model hooked up that knows about your house and your sensors and movement and stuff, and it's like, hey, are the lights on in the kitchen? Yeah. Can you turn them off? Sure. Thanks.
October. This was a trend that I believe is still going on right now, and we're going to see a lot of this heat up as we head into this October, which is the final day that any of us will be allowed to have our precious Windows 10.
Windows 11 adoption takes a downturn. So what do? You immediately murder Windows 10.
I remember they announced, I don't think we covered it, but Microsoft Office will not run on Windows 10 after that date.
This was also it proved to be controversial. Like the controversy started to heat up around now, but it took a few months for it to develop. The gaming performance had been degraded severely on Windows 11. Windows 11 24H2 clawed some of that back, but there really was something to Windows 10 being much better for gaming than Windows 11.
Is it all the AI bullshit where it's constantly looking at your screen?
And OpenAI, I mean, we all knew they were taking over the world, but we actually got to quantify it in October.
OpenAI is now valued at $157 billion. We also learned that the definition of general artificial intelligence is OpenAI profiting $100 billion, a tenth of $1 trillion.
We also learned that that whole nonprofit thing, forget that.
Yeah,
Never happened.
we're for profit.
Don't worry about it.
That was you know what? You hallucinated that.
Also, our ethics board gone.
Yeah. Replaced by Microsoft executive. And the copyright wars are, they really hate certain free, some ASMR here. So free access.
Hope no one needed to pee.
Places where you can get things, places where you can remember what happened before. Oh, the power really doesn't like that, right? Which made some people suspicious about who might be behind this.
Internet Archive breached again. Third cyber attack in October 2024. This one took a little while to recover from.
We lost it for a while.
I love the Internet Archive. It's useful for work too sometimes, where it's like, what did this used to look like before?
And we had another kind of banking problem. They didn't just mess up by giving you free money. They had the reverse as well in October.
Bank of America app glitch zeroes out people's balances. They freaked out and they fixed it. But this is probably just a trial run to be like, would anybody notice if we stole all their money?
They noticed.
People don't like that.
They noticed, yeah. And we all knew that Google was not in the AI game very well. Even in October, they were behind. And this had to scare them a little bit. In fact, they immediately changed their product and made it horrible, probably based on this.
OpenAI launches ChatGPT search competing with Google and Microsoft. Basically, this was a little bit of the, I'm going to upload some documents and then you can ask ChatGPT about your documents.
And maybe wrapping up the horrible, horrible year that Intel had. This was kind of their low point, I think.
Intel posts a $16.6 billion quarterly loss, its biggest ever. It also became the point at which we started making jokes like Elon spent $44 billion to buy Twitter. He could have just bought Intel. Because Intel's only, like, I just need a small loan of $100 billion. That was what, today or yesterday's joke? I don't know.
That was 100 million.
Billion.
Was it billion?
Billion, yeah. Paul Stevens says, wearable glasses like the Xreal 1 Pro shown to Jimmy Kimmel by Linus from CES. Yeah, maybe. I haven't tried those. I tried the older ones. The older ones were 1080p. Those maybe would get it done. I don't know. I'll have to try it. That was really cool.
Is that all you got?
Yep. I think, unless I missed one.
November.
Thanks again, Usaurus.
Now, one thing we have seen since the beginning of the AI revolution up until this point was a guarantee that robots weren't going to start killing people, right? I mean,
That'll never happen.
we got a lot of fiction where that ultimately always comes to that, but they're like, nah, you're just being
What if we gave
alarmist.
Spot a flamethrower?
Yeah,
Concept.
never going to happen. Don't worry.
AI companies get comfortable offering their technology to the military. Oh, and we got a couple more super chats. I'll get those at the end of the month. Thank you, guys.
And since then, they have gotten more and more comfortable.
I like the one, if you have not seen the video of the Chinese company that has the walking robot that also has wheels, you should check that out because that is a truly terrifying, unstoppable military robot. Like that's just, but as complicated and like there's a lot of amazing software and processing and all that kind of stuff. Think about the simplicity of this is a flying pack of C4 that is way less complicated than any of those robots. And a flying pack of C4 is terrifying.
And also in November, the mainstream figured out what a lot of people have known for a long time about the Internet of Things, but they packaged it in a way that made it seem like it's only happening in one specific example, when in fact it's happening in every example.
Chinese air fryers may be spying on consumers, which, what?
I think which is the name of the publication. That's the only way
Unfortunate
that makes
name.
sense, right?
Yeah.
When we reported that the Zojirushi app had a scary amount of permissions that it wanted.
Let's shoot any app anymore. I mean, I think it's forever.
And it beeps angrily when you don't give it Wi-Fi.
You know what else beeps angrily when you don't give it Wi-Fi? LG TVs. LG TVs and will now try to hop on Wi-Fi that does not have authentication and try to update themselves that way, and that is just not acceptable. And it changes the functionality of the TV after the fact.
And this one was a bit of a harbinger because we have been hearing more and more and more. And apparently there's a boat loitering suspiciously right now, right?
Yeah.
So we're going to get another one of these.
Undersea cables cut or damaged, leading European nations to investigate possible sabotage. And we can't make up our minds if it is or is not sabotage, to the point that we are boarding these vessels to look around to try to figure it out.
I think it probably is.
Yeah. I mean, maybe they can pretend it's just, oh, we dropped our anchor in the middle of the ocean by accident. But
And another kind of a breaking down the wall here, right? Like people all at once found out that not only have they been spying on you, but they forced the infrastructure to be built so that they could spy on you. And they did it poorly.
CISA and the FBI confirmed that China breached telecommunication providers. This is the lawful wiretap functionality that's built into a lot of telecommunications gear. Turns out we don't really know who can use that.
Now, they've assured us that they got rid of all of this intrusion. Don't worry. It took them a couple of months, but it's all gone now. But you know, the only thing you have to think about now is just forget the fact that we're spying on you. Right?
At the time of that article, it was like one provider, and then it was all providers, which was insane. Nicodil says, does the Radeon Pro W7800 30 gig still make sense for AI tasks, or is the 5090 going to make more sense? I can answer that question tomorrow, but the W7800 Radeon Pro, like Radeon Pro is not really designed to be an AI card. It's designed to be a Pro card. It's the Instinct that's designed to be AI, and that's a big difference. K3N1K, it's like, I totally agree with the video game comment. I'm glad we pushed back. $60 is crazy already. Now you want to preach to me? Thank you. I could just go watch bad movies if I wanted that. QQQRRWWW says, do you all have any thoughts on AI enabling the engineering of pathogens? Seems uniquely terrifying. If it gets good at engineering pathogens, it'll probably get good at engineering antipathogens. So.
Yeah, that's quite the gamble we're taking, huh? Shouldn't we do it in the other direction?
there's a lot of pathogens that already exist.
We have this amazing antibiotic now, thanks to whatever. James says, sorry for the Canadian. It's all I've got. We will take your Canadian pesos. Thank you. Wendell, Mary, Bang, Kill. Apple, Nintendo, dealer's choice. Also, how far have Ryan and Krista strayed from Kentucky? Did they enjoy it? Love from New Zealand via Boingistan. Thank you. Boingistan? I don't know. And Usfora says, best game of 2024, best upcoming game of 2025. Thank you, Usfora.
I'm terrible at remembering when games come out.
I liked the Golden Idol, the new one. I already mentioned it, though. What other games did we play? I thought it was pretty... I mean, I don't think it was the best game of the year, but I thought it was pretty fun.
The Indiana Jones game is a better game and a better story than Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull. I like that.
It's a low bar.
It is an absurdly low bar. All the way through. That's so bad.
It is really bad.
So bad.
I remember watching it and just being like, why does everyone like these movies?
I can't even remember the games I played. I'm such a game slut. Like, it's always a new one, right?
If we have control of a time machine, Helldivers 2 was a crazy amount of fun before Sony messed it up.
Was that 2024?
Was it?
Or was it end of 2023? I liked Helldivers, all right. It was fun. A good mindless game. I don't have to think about it.
It wasn't Game of the
Year. Baldur's Gate? Baldur's Gate
24? That was 2023.
Yeah, okay. End of 2023.
That was great, though.
I want to replay that, but I don't have the time.
Oh, they've added a ton of content.
I know.
A ton of content.
And I've probably reached a point where I still remember most of the plot, but like it would feel fresh after playing it.
You know what would help? Finish that bottle.
And then it'd really be fresh.
Be fresh. Yeah.
I have to drive. I can't drink anymore. Also, the juice is very sweet.
All right, what month were you in?
It's December.
This is why there's the most stories in this section because it's the most recent.
Oh no, the stream's almost over. Well, we'll probably ramble a little bit. I'll have some more juice at the end, so we'll hang out for a little bit after December.
Woo!
Yeah, exactly. I think more about what other games came out in 24 that we played.
You know what? We'll look at a list of games that came out in 2024 after we do this.
Yeah.
This one, this was celebrated. It was very hyped in the news, but did it really it felt a little kind of a flop, right? Like, did this change the world? Did it even come close to doing what AI is doing?
A truly remarkable breakthrough. Google's new quantum chip achieves accuracy milestone. Yes, this was good error correction, but this was misreported in a lot of places, and this still has not really been. This has enabled some things, but it has not escalated from there. Interestingly,
But this situation has escalated, and now this man has a lot more cards to play, doesn't he? I don't know if he can ever revisit this, but the next time around, I think he'll get his way.
the New York Times headline is Elon Musk's $50 billion Tesla pay cannot be reinstated. Delaware judge rules.
I don't know if rules apply to the people at the top of our society.
It's certainly different, isn't it?
Although I think with the new administration, like maybe now's the time to appeal that, right?
I don't know if he can appeal it because all of his board members also had to give back money. Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
So, well, he did. I mean, he's going to make a lot of money with his current power position. Do you think he bought any meme coins?
Yes, he definitely did.
How much do you think he bought?
A lot.
He probably got in like right at the beginning, right?
He spent more on the meme coins than he did on the people to keep his Path of Exile 2 character alive.
I'm not talking about meme coins in general. I'm talking about the Trump and Melania meme.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
You think so?
He probably didn't even have to think about it. Probably the guy that's doing his Path of Exile character was also like, hey, give me like $20,000 in meme coins.
He's also a crypto investor.
That guy also handles his investing.
Yeah. He's a busy person.
You know who won't be getting a bonus? Probably ever again.
Intel CEO resigns after a disastrous tenure is the CNN Business headline. And I disagree with this entirely. CNN Business doesn't get it. Oh, this is so crazy. The business types running a technology company, like Intel is going to be Exhibit A in, it's the new, you remember when the CEO of Pepsi was running Apple? The Intel board is like the CEO of Pepsi in that analogy. Pat Gelsinger did a good job, and he did make a few mistakes, but I really don't think they should have gotten rid of him. And Intel, the Arc GPUs are actually pretty good, and the new Xeon CPUs are pretty good. They fumbled the Core Ultra Series 2 launch, but it probably didn't have to be that terrible. And the 13th and 14th gen problems, I think, were a symptom of cultural problems that Pat inherited. So I don't know.
There's a little bit of a follow-up to the Chinese are in everything story, because when it happened, yeah, it was just the one company. And then a month later,
White House says the ninth telecom company has been hacked as a part of the Chinese espionage campaign. This turned into like, wait a minute, they're in T-Mobile? Maybe we should check the other telecommunications company. And literally every telecommunications company they checked, the lawful wiretap backdoors were being abused by someone unknown, which turned out to be.
which was easy to predict because we knew that the back door is everywhere and it's universal. Why would they not exploit it everywhere? That one kind of makes sense. And this, this is just about one man, but he was not the only one sitting back there in that billionaires row at the inauguration.
Oh, it's just a target-rich environment right
This,
there.
oh, Dark Krista. This was the year of the tech bros taking the reins of power.
This was the year Elon Musk took over politics. It really was amazing to see a lot of the misinformation and half-truths about at least a few things that I know about. And it was just like, oh, this is being amplified algorithmically, and it is not the whole story.
But in the beginning of the year, they were all going after him and finding any reason they could to run a hit piece.
Yeah.
There was that Fortune.com. Somebody trolled Fortune.com and said that Elon was going to take the timestamps off of tweets. They just ran with it. They didn't check it at all. Because any anti-Musk story is going to get clicks right now. Probably pro-Musk stories too, right? And another one that just shows the trend that is continuing to strengthen as we headed into 2025 is that there must be more power.
World first grid-scale nuclear fusion power plant announced in the U.S. And look, in the background there is their tiny little standard. And that's not even like the crazy AI designed Stellarator, which we've also done stories on. That's just a tiny little fusion reactor. And this, to me, is insane because up till now, they've been saying, oh, it's not energy positive. We don't get enough energy from fusion. And then it's like, oh, the AI needs power. It's like, we're going to bring on some fusion reactors. It's like, what? How is this possible?
and maybe the saddest theme of 2024 was, of course, the continued and accelerating debasement of the currency.
Bitcoin hits $100,000 per coin. And it's still been hovering around there since then.
It's a little above it right now.
It has not gone asymptotic, but, it's done pretty well. Sean Dudley, thank you. Jim, thank you. Thanks from Scotland. Watched for years. You are my morning coffee. Well, we are your
Thanks.
morning coffee. Thank you.
Do we make you poop?
Describe in detail.
Pal World. Remember Pal World?
How
Oh,
about
yeah.
was 2024?
That was a lot of fun. Oh, I hope things are going well with their Nintendo. Nintendo's trying to kill them.
I don't know that they're going to win that fight.
I really
think
hope they don't.
That might have been the only one I played from this list from
What else we got?
January.
We played Pal World quite a bit. We played that on stream for like a month and a half.
Well, I played Prince of Persia. There was a Prince of Persia game like 3 or 4 years ago that I really enjoyed, and they haven't gotten the formula right since, in my opinion.
Suicide Squad was, I think, another one that the people turned against, right?
Yep.
Oh, Helldivers. Helldivers is on that list. Came out in February.
Balatro. Is that Balatro? No, is it?
Balatro came out of early access. It wasn't really like new. It's an amazing game though.
Star Wars Dark Forces remaster. I keep waiting for the Knights of the Old Republic remaster. Knights of the Old Republic chat. If you haven't played Knights of the Old Republic 2, serious amount of fun.
Yeah, I would say Balatro is the game of February. March. I don't recognize any of these. March was a tough month.
Yeah. If you're releasing a new game, maybe March is the time. I wonder why they don't release in March more.
Alone in the Dark reboot. I don't know. It seems like that should have been on my radar. I don't think I even played that.
I don't think those reboots are terrible. That was one of my favorite childhood PC games.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not seeing. Wow, there's just so many games I've never heard of. Manor Lords. I played a bit of that.
Oh, I remember, yeah.
That was pretty good. That was hard. I couldn't beat the first level. Abiotic Factory was maybe one of my biggest disappointments of the year.
Really?
That was not fun.
I guess I enjoyed it up to a certain point, and then it got really grindy.
I think it was grindy from the start.
I do like the premise, though. I hope we see more games like that where it's like survival, but it's in a urban kind of environment.
Had a good idea. They just didn't implement well with the combat or the items.
I totally forgot about that game.
Yeah, you know why? Because it was not good. I don't recognize any of these, man. Killer Clowns from Outer Space. You ever see that movie?
No, I've heard of
Should
it,
watch
but I
it.
haven't seen it.
Chernobyl liquidators.
Never heard of it. Is
Elden
that
Ring,
like-
Shadow of the Erd Tree. I didn't play it, but that was a big hype game.
You think
yeah.
that Liquidators is it like a power wash simulator, but you're cleaning up the power plant?
Elden Ring is probably game of the year for a lot of people.
Well, that wasn't Elden Ring. That was the
The
DLC.
extension,
Yeah.
yeah. I think I'm trying to remember what one game of year. Oh, Astrobot won at the Game Awards.
But that was a PlayStation game, right? These are PC games.
Yeah.
V Rising was a letdown. I played that a little bit. I didn't really get into it.
Nah, it
It was
wasn't great.
Vampire Survivors. I thought that was a better, but that's older, isn't it?
Yeah. Also, not a major release for sure.
We need to revisit Project Zomboid soon, whenever it gets stabilized for multiplayer. But these are so small, I can't read
So
them very well.
many.
Star Wars Outlaws on August 30th. Oh, I've been playing that one for benchmarking, and it could have been great, but it suffers a little bit from.
That was another one that people turned on in
Yeah.
a big way.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did not like that one.
I also really like historically. I really liked the Dragon Age games. I did not care for Veilguard.
Oh, you know what? Star Trucker, I was hyped for. I like to do some Star Trucking, but they made that you have to babysit the meters and fix the truck so often. So I think they ruined that one.
So it's the thing where your items degrade too
Yeah.
quickly.
There's no time to just sit back and truck.
Denvera 1G1 for $5. Thank you. Thoughts on Strix Halo maybe supporting LPDDR5 plus DDR5? The idea of 8x 128 gigs UDIMMs in a small form factor. Nah, it doesn't work like that. You got to reuse the wires. First Descendant was fun for a hot minute. I'll have to try that then.
Call of Duty Black Ops, I guess that was a big one from a lot of people.
Oh yeah, we got that one for benchmarking.
Dragon Age Veilguard was another one that people turned on.
Yeah.
Ellen, I enjoyed, but that is it's a niche game. Let's say. I got burned
A
out.
discerning type of consumer.
Oh, Planet Coaster 2. That might be one you like, Krista.
I don't think I've ever played it. I played Parkitect, which is like similar genre.
Very
I never
similar,
played Planet
yeah.
Coaster.
Tetris Forever. Black Myth Wukong.
I've never played that. Have you tried it?
Yeah, it's kind of fun.
Oh, that was like another one that people really wanted to win at the Game Awards, and I don't think it did. It won a few categories, but not the big award.
Oh, Krista, Marvel Rivals. Are you ever going to try it?
I don't know if I have room in my life to lose that kind of time like I used to play Overwatch, but
I don't even know if I can pick a winner from that list. That's weird because like none of the games I played this year are on that list. It feels like.
yeah.
Indiana Jones was on the list too.
Like there were some games that I was like, oh, this is okay, but that wasn't any that I really like. Yeah, I want to revisit that soon.
You got to go hard indie. Hard indie.
You know what was really popular last year but fell off this year is the like the horror adventure game, because we had Callisto Protocol, and we had in the last few years it was like remember I think like Dead Space I think set it off all those years ago, and then we had like 3 or 4 games that were the same kind of like, and then I don't think we've had anything like that.
I really like survival crafters, which I know it's kind of like not a popular genre, but no one really makes those right now. Not super frequently anyway.
We're going to get AI designed assets.
Yeah.
So like single developers can crank out stuff like that.
Now, the big studios are already cranking out stuff and firing people like crazy.
Like COD Blops with its loading screen artwork that had like 6 fingers and
Yeah. Oh, you know what wasn't in that list? It was the Factorio update.
Well, it's just an update. It's not a release.
that was nominated, I think, for on the Game Awards.
Yeah, and Satisfactory released, which with some pretty big changes. That was a lot of fun.
Take it up with PC Gamer.
I actually have been playing a little bit of the new Satisfactory, or the Satisfactory with updates. I haven't made it very far in it, but it's like this is somehow less annoying than it was when we all played it together.
I enjoyed just exploring the environment in that game.
Yeah.
I didn't do much with the factory. I was just like, oh, look at all these cool new places to go.
It seems like there was a cool some cool updates and stuff that you could find exploring and that sort of stuff. So we've got 1,000 people hanging out with us that haven't left, that are just like, how's it going, guys?
I don't know what else to give them.
I got nothing
Our
else.
love and
I'm
attention.
empty. I'm spent.
Today's was a work day, and I had 3-4 calls today. I'm peopled out.
I can't get work done for all the peopling.
Tomorrow should be better. I don't have hardly nearly as many.
Thank you all for hanging out. Now you should go have your friends watch the show so that they can discover the magic. Oh, Frostpunk 2. Yeah, I used
Oh yeah.
That is actually kind of fun. I've gone back to it.
That felt like a disappointment. I didn't play it, but seeing you play it felt like a huge departure.
It's not a huge departure, but it is definitely, they leaned into the more like, let's have you juggle a lot of cats at a lot of different locations, and you end up, it's like this group is getting coal or oil or whatever, and this group is dealing with the food and resources, or making amenities, and then there's an expedition group out here doing stuff, and it's a little weird.
Trying to bounce between them and get invested.
Yeah. It's like, did Vero 1G1, thank you. Hoping Strix Halo doesn't cut DDR5 256-bit, allows for 256-bit now with 8x64 up to 1 terabyte of DDR5 in desktop now, since 128 gig DIMMs are available. I think they reused the wire, the physical interface though. I mean, theoretically it might be possible, but they would probably have to spend a special package for it, because I think they mux the wiring for that. But I could be wrong. Well, thank you all for hanging out. We're going to end the stream. And yeah, it's been a lot of fun. And we'll do this again soon, probably.
Don't make that promise. It took us
was
3 months
ice
to do
storm.
this.
Yeah, we were a little late on this because of the storm. So
Don't you need to stop it there first?
I don't know.
Because it'll cut off.